Hi, welcome to the small shed. This week I'm finishing off the library returns book box for the local school. See you in a minute. Now, it seems a while ago it was one of the things that was causing all sorts of meltdowns with overwork and too many projects. But we'd got last time to the stage where I'd made the sides for the book box out of an old cot that we'd found the timber for. Time now to get the rest of it done and finished and get the thing out of the shed and get on to the next project when that one's done. So let's see how we're getting on with this one. Well, I'm quite pleased with that. I've marked I've got, as I said, I've got two sides that have been made independently, and for me usually that spells disaster because one will be different to the other. It's all gone together reasonably well on the front and that's all fine. I've just put a square on the back. I've got a line at the height that I want to cut it, and if I put this side on the line that I drew on that side, that's 700 tall, it's 1 millimetre higher than that one, so a bit of a disaster there I'm sure, but for me that is, and I could probably bend some of that out of it, so I'm happy with that. If I've got the thing level to within a millimetre at the bottom when I've basically started at the top, that's good enough for me. So I'm going to cut these down now, get the floor in, and then I can get some casters mounted. It looks like we're pretty much there on that. I will just check the widths, although there's nothing to stop it flopping in and out, but let's just check the far end. That is 430 mil, 429 probably, and here it's 429. So yeah, even if I didn't need to do a little bit of that, it's pretty much straight, square, and square to the ground. Now, before I get too deeply into the returns box, I've got to sort this little bit out, but before I take it apart I want to sort out where the slot is going to go. The one that we had a picture of was smaller, had a smaller return on it with the slot in it there, and it said returns on the front bit below there, and I think I might well be going, because we've got a larger panel here, to put the slot in it either high up or low down. I've got to decide which. And then we've got the lettering that will say returns either across the top or the bottom, and I don't know which we're going to use yet. My gut feel is to put the lettering high up so that people can see it better with the slot below. So I think I'm just going to mark that out now. Don't know how big it's got to be. I'm working, I think, on the basis of what looks right, and on that basis I think about a foot, 300 mil slot that way, and probably about 80 would look about right in proportion. So I'm going to mark that out on the front, and then when we've got this panel out to do this bit of repair here, I can do that at the same time. I've agreed on my size. I've got it 300 by 80, I think. Gives me enough room to put the lettering above it with reasonably equal spacing between the top and bottom of the letters and the bottom of the slot. I'm going to cheat, I think, and rather than go for square cut corners, which I think will be slightly more difficult to do and look really professional and finished nicely, I'm going to put a Forstner bit in each corner just to give me a little bit of radius, and I think I'll also just ease the edges afterwards with the router, just very slightly, just to soften it a bit, because I think you're just going to get wear on the the sharp edges all the while. So I'm going to drop that on the drill press, get the holes cut out, and then we'll try and connect them up in a straight line without getting too wobbly. It's not as easy when you can't get a bandsaw. It's either a scroll saw, which I don't think is suitable, multi-tool I could use perhaps, or a small hand saw. We'll see how we get on. I've scored the lines with a knife before I started, just to make sure the veneer doesn't split, because it's on the back of it. You can see where I've drilled the veneer is flaking away. And again, although it doesn't matter because it's painted, it's just more work if I've got to redo that. And I'm just going in very neatly with the little kerfless saw that I had for Christmas, making a start just on the one side of the line that I've cut with the knife, just gently worrying at it with the saw, get it started. Establishes a starting point, and then I can move in with the pull saw, which is a little bit more aggressive. It's quite slow and laborious, but I think the benefits will be that there's little or no cleaning up afterwards. You know, you can go for a quick option like a multi-tool or something, but you then spend a lot longer tidying up the lines after. Right, that's got the hole done. I'm happy with that. It's just nice to have that rounded off corners, I think. A little bit of work still to do, and a little bit of filling. There's a bit of tear out there on this veneer, which I thought there might be, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be. As I've said before, it doesn't matter because it's all going to be painted anyway, so I can fill and sort that out. But I'm happy with that. I'm just going to cut it now down to the right length, or height I should say, and that's got the bulk of the front of the carcass done. Then got to sort myself a door and a floor out, and I'm not sure what I'm going to use for that. I might have to go back to the shed and have a scrounge around, I think. I've got nothing that's big enough. Got the door cut, so I've got to sort out some sort of a trim at the top. But I think if I put a pair of hinges on that now to come out that way, and a catch, as I say, it means they can see in to see whether there are any books in or not. I may just lift the whole thing up, I don't know. Just lift it up higher and lift the base, this piece up higher, because the casters will be lifting the whole thing off the ground anyway. But as I say, that's one for the next thing to think about. I've just got to find myself some hinges now, so we'll go and see what Mr. Screwfix has to offer. I think really something surface mounted, just there and there on the back. It won't show, and it needs to be reasonably substantial. I'll have a quick look in the garage and see if I've got anything suitable. but I think we're just about there. I've been struggling to get the hinges to sort out for this back, making it out of Perspex. I've ended up with some fairly simple hinges. I was originally going to just bolt the Perspex through from one side like that, but I've decided to bite the bullet and I'm going to drill in from the end. It's 10mm thick, and I'm going to drill and tap down into it and put a machine screw down into the Perspex itself. I think that will give a much better job. So we're just marking those out now, and once the door's on we're pretty much there, ready to just do the final paint. Now I've set all the letters out to how I think they need to be. One of the reasons I did it with the white primer first is that I've drawn round them, and that gives me the position of all the letters. What I'm going to do from there on is to drill 2 or 3 holes in each position of a letter, and then I'll hold the letters on and back drill through so that we can put some small pegs in, and that will locate them. I'm not really anxious to have these things fall off, and I think if I just super glue them to a painted surface, sooner or later somebody will hit it with or drop a book and the whole thing will just fall apart. So we'll start with, as I say, putting some little marks in, do some drill holes through for about 3 or 4mm diameter, and then put some spikes on that will be on the letters. We can embed them in, super glue into the letter itself, and it will give us that protection against the shock in shear. Just cut some lengths of aluminium welding rod, 3mm, that I'm using for the dowels. Just glue them in to the letter, and then that gives us a register where we want to put them, so that when we've painted the board they'll go back in exactly the right place without any fuss. I won't have to worry about the spacing, and they'll have some mechanical fixing other than straightforward gluing to the surface. Now the original Perspex that I've used, acrylic stuff, was quite scratched, so I've just put it on the polishing mop and got most of the bad scratching out, and I'm just giving it a final do with some chrome cleaner, which will do the same sort of thing, and that restores it pretty much back to pristine condition. A little bit of work on the edges I think to do, but I think we're just about there with it. And once that's put back on, we're just about there, I think, ready to deliver it back to school. Right, I think that's just about it. I've got to pop out now and get a catch. I need a magnetic catch for the door because I haven't got anything suitable. And I think that otherwise is it. Now, I've got myself into a bit of a problem, I think, really. I've got plenty of time to finish this book return box off, and in fact I finished all the painting about a week before it was due to go back. We're in the middle of the Easter holidays at the moment, and the only thing I had to do was put a catch on the back of it, and I thought, well, that won't be a problem, I'll just go and get a cheap magnetic catch. And I ordered one, and it said 15mm on the description, and the door itself is 10. I've got a 25mm piece of wood to fix it on, so I thought that would be fine. However, the striking plate is about another 8mm, which would mean that you push the catch back right on the edge of the timber and the screws won't go in. So I had a quick look round and found a small ball catch which would do, except for the fact that the actual catch part is tiny and isn't really, I don't think, going to be suited well to fixing on the side of it. I mean, I might be able to get away with that one, but I'm really not that convinced by it. So here we are, 2 days before it's due to be delivered, and I'm at Menisheds tomorrow, so Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock I've got a problem really. I think what I'm going to do is to see if I can disassemble this, fixing this striker plate, because if I could just get it down to one thickness of metal for the striker plate to be attached to the clear perspex door, I'd be alright. Right, that's got the plate off. Right, well, after a considerable amount of messing around, we've got the catch on. That's now shuts like it should do. So that's the last bit really. We can just wrap it up now and get it ready to be sent off. That has completed the book return box, and just hope everybody enjoys it. Right, well, that's got that one out the shed. It's delivered to the school the other day, and we've had a note back from them saying they're delighted with it. So it matched all their decor. I was quite pleased with the finished job. So hopefully that's one less project on the list, one to tick off of the 29 or so jobs, and we can move on to the next one. Hope the video is of interest. Look forward to seeing you next time. We'll be doing something different in the shed. I'll see you then. Bye!